Hey everyone, it's Chris Wallace with Holzl Homes and Keller Williams here with another episode of The Inspection, episode 5. The Inspection, where we take a closer look at all things real estate and also within the community. I'm super pumped for this week's episode. Had a chance to get to know this individual through all things social media, which is super popular these days. But really excited to talk a little bit here today with Tracy Duran with Discovering Aurora. Really excited to dive into everything that she's learned and already knew because she's from the area. So Tracy, welcome. How are you?
I'm good, Chris. How are you?
Excellent. Thanks. So Tracy, tell us a little bit about your background. Again, for those listening, at Discovering Aurora on Instagram. She has a YouTube page, a website. There's so much more to come that we'll dive into. But it's really a chance, if you're curious to know more about the history of Aurora and surrounding area, to dive in. But Tracy, talk to us a little bit about how you decided to go down this path and basically become a historian for all the history, the people, and the buildings in Aurora and surrounding area.
Well, actually, I've always been intrigued with Aurora history. So my dad had always taught us a lot about certain buildings and everything when we were kids growing up, especially Leland Tower. That was his favorite. And so it's like, but as a kid, you're not going to listen. You're like, yeah, okay, Dad, whatever.
Right.
but but as I'd gotten older, and I actually lived in Leland Tower,
Wow.
and I was able to be a part of the one of the first occupants of the 20th floor, which used to be the Sky Club. So it
Cool.
was just kind of like really neat to be a part of that. And then, but as I started learning more about the city, I realized that there was such a rich history of that a lot of people weren't aware of. So that's what had gotten me started on mostly my website, and because I wanted to learn more about Leland Tower. And then it started spread out to more of the general area of downtown Aurora and some other buildings. And but yeah, it's just kind of started rolling really well. And now I'm here doing Discovering Aurora. And with Discovering Aurora, I want to do like little like Cliff Notes versions of Aurora's history. And it just seems like that, a lot of people are really enjoying it.
No, they definitely are. You're at the 4-figure mark now, and yeah, I know you've been only doing it since June of last year, so very short period of time. And again, make sure you're following at Discovering Aurora on Instagram. It's a great follow. I mean, everything from just some of the different buildings and history behind it, and even just seeing some of the years of when buildings were built or when it got converted from an opera house to a bank or when Al Capone was in the town. And if you haven't driven through downtown Aurora, I know it's going through a ton of changes and a lot of different real estate's being transacted there to build Aurora up. Talking to people from the area similar to yourself, I know the focus is making Aurora less of a direction you're going on the highway and much more a destination and a place to be. I mean, you have theaters, you have really cool businesses and restaurants and things
Mhm.
like that. So there's so much to offer. But I think what for you is one of the coolest things as you've gone through this process and really dove into the history. What's like one story or one piece of architecture that really jumps out at you that you found the most interesting so far? I know it's gonna be hard to narrow it down.
I know there are so many, and right now I do love what the chamber and what the city of Aurora is doing for a lot of the buildings that have been sitting vacant for so long, including the house building and the terminal building. Um, One building that I think flies under the radar is it's on Broadway, and it's where Chupacabra restaurant is right now.
Okay.
And that building is one of the oldest buildings on that block, and it was formerly a home for one of the original settlers, E.D. Huntoon.
Okay.
So it's like, and I thought when Chupacabra first um, became a brick and mortar, because they used to be a food truck, and I thought, I think that they've been trade with that information and everything, and a lot of times with what I post, I just post whatever pops in my mind, and I'll do it that day, and I think oh, this will intrigue people, and but I didn't realize how much people are really taking it in and actually learning. Oh, I didn't know about that, and I think that's important for people to know the background of certain buildings.
No, 100%. I mean, to have 150 something posts and to be thinking about it in real time. I mean, a number of your reels that you're posting are getting 3,000-4,000 plus views on them. So people are really taking in some of the most interesting things. I know, again, there's just so much to offer. I feel like you could be doing this for the next 10 years, once a day, and still have another 10 years worth of content to run with. Tracy, I have to ask, are there ghosts in Aurora? I mean, some of these old buildings, some of these crazy stories you share, have you had a ghost encounter there? If so, where? Tell us. I mean, I'm just kind of curious.
Honestly, I believe that Aurora does have like spiritual activity. I was speaking with was it Scott Sherwood, who helps out over at the Aurora Historical Society. We both discussed that there's like the spiritual dust,
Okay,
within the city. But I have had situations happen over at Leland Tower when I lived there, and also over at the Roundhouse when I was part of a ghost tour over there. And each time it was just the one for Leland, though, was really intriguing. I was living on the 20th floor, and middle of the night, the witching hour, 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm sleeping, and all of a sudden I could hear music, and I'm thinking to myself, oh, it's neighbors,
sure.
And I'm the kind of person, I'm going to go down to your door, knock on your door, and be like, hey, cut it out. I'm going to call the police.
Yeah.
And so got up and opened up the door. And the way my apartment was apartment 1901, and the door opened up to the hallway. So you see the majority of the hallway, and open it up, you can still hear the music. And I just was hit with this cold blast of air.
Oh my gosh. I'm getting
And
chills just hearing you say that.
and you can hear the music kind of like running away from you, like it's going down the hallway, and all the lights were like flickering down the hallway. And I just got like chills up and down my spine. And I'm like, okay, close the door, turn on Cartoon Network. I'm going to stay up for the rest of the night.
Yeah. Cartoon Network or something similar is exactly what I would be going to. So if you're at Leland Tower and you're on the 20th floor now, just take note. And maybe you've had similar encounters. If you have, please comment them in the comments below here on YouTube. So, well, I know there's so much. I mean, again, you're not even a year into doing this, and you've gotten a ton of traction already. Can only imagine it's going to continue to multiply because it's just interesting. And whether it's all the different shows on on Hulu and YouTube TV, etc., just like the ghost tour stuff, and Travel Channel has all kinds of stuff, and it's like, this is what people find interesting. And so I can't imagine it's going to change. So I know you're working on a number of different things going forward. What are the most important projects you're focused on? And you're doing some writing and things like that. Tell us more on what we can expect in the future.
Well, I'm currently working, and it's been a long process. I've been working on a historical fiction book that revolves around Leland Tower. And it's like a historical fiction paranormal crime drama.
Fun.
And it's like a mix of like like the movie Ghost and like some other kind of idea, kind of what it would be. The other one is a book, like a short story about Warren Lincoln, who I'm not sure you're familiar with. This year is actually going to be the 100th anniversary of a murder that he had done in Aurora. And it was a very intriguing story because this fellow is like a very quiet, kind of odd kind of fellow. And he had a nagging wife, and her brother had moved in with them. And next thing you know, they disappeared. Warren disappeared. And then he came back, and he put the police on a wild goose chase. And long story short, he ended up murdering them, and they found parts of them. And yeah, it's a very crazy story. And
I'm going to be Googling that after this. I just did, and I see it's a double murder in 1923. So I'm going to be reading all about this after this. So this is the kind of stuff that like just gets me intrigued, right? Like, I want to know more.
Yeah, and actually, I do have a video on my YouTube channel, which is Tracy Duran Discovering Aurora, that I had done. I think it was last year or the year before, and it's just like like a Cliff Notes version of the story. but there's a lot more to it. So that's another book I'm working on. But I also started doing the website and the Instagram page to give myself a better foundation of being a historian, because I want people to, I mean, they're always going to question what you write,
Right.
but I don't want them to question everything. Like,
Right.
does she really know what she's talking about? And it's like, I try my best to get the absolute best information possible.
Well, I hope from the ghost story and the music in the hallway and the flickering lights and the cold, this is the bookmark to people knowing that you're legit, Tracy, because I don't have a story that can match that, and didn't grow up in the town I live in to be able to like tie all this back to, like you said, your dad pointing out buildings and you being in the car being like, whatever, dad, and here you are, super intrigued by it, and sharing that with us. So you have you have some things you're writing coming forward, and books and opportunities to engage with you that way. You've got your YouTube channel, your website, tracyduran.com. So Tracy, TARACYDURAN.com as a place to check you out as well. Of course, the Instagram is where it's just quick and easy on the go, in between work meetings, what have you. So we'll make sure to put all of that in the comments below on where they can find you. Anything else you want to share, Tracy, about you, the work you do, anything going forward?
I don't know. I mean, I just hope everybody enjoys, everything that I post. I enjoy doing it. I mean, I'm not only a historian, but I'm also a collector of everything Aurora, or not everything. Well, yeah, everything Aurora. I have like a collection of East Aurora and West Aurora high school yearbooks. I have about 100 or so.
Holy smokes.
And my oldest one is from 1915.
Cool.
So, and what's neat about them is that you get to see like the careers of some of the teachers and how they started off as a teacher and becoming an administrator. So it's like, yeah, it's like just that love of seeing the progress of that. And I hope that everybody appreciates seeing the progress of how Aurora has grown. And yeah, we did have a little bit of a, kind of a went into a rut, so to speak.
Yeah.
But now it's coming back, and I love, and I hope, and I would like to hope that whatever I'm putting out there is helping Aurora bring, get that sparkle back.
100%. I think, yeah, like everything, COVID, I think, threw a little bit of a wrench into the progressive plans for Aurora, downtown Aurora, the entire community. But my gosh, you go around the river and the downtown spots and go get a coffee at Indiro and all these places, and you just see, I mean, I was there with my son a few weeks back, and you're just walking and he's even looking up at the buildings. I mean, it's a full-on city that's right here in our backyards, and it offers so much. And what I've seen and read and talking to people like yourself is it very much sounds like we have the right people on the bus that are helping kind of steer things in an awesome direction. So if you're not paying attention to what's happening in Aurora and the future of it, you're totally missing out. My guess is there's a lot of great real estate, commercial and residential investment opportunities there, although, as you mentioned, some may be haunted. So we'll keep that in the future. I'd love to chat with you again as things progress. And of course, we'll be continuing to keep an eye on at Discovering Aurora on Instagram. So thank you so much for the time. Really just interesting stuff. We got to dive more into some of these ghost stories offline, but we'll definitely be keeping track of you. And again, if you like the video, check below. All of Tracy's info and where to find her stuff is there. And feel free to comment and certainly like and subscribe if you want to see more of this in the future. So Tracy, thanks again, and excited to talk to you soon.
Great. I appreciate it.
Take care.
Take care.